Good morning, children. In this video, we are going to read another poem of your course book, A Spaceship Landed Over There by Mac Wilkie. Mac Wilkie is a poet from Tennessee, USA. Though an electrical engineer by profession, he has been writing stories and poems since he was in high school. Some of his famous poems are Pain Has a Face, A Whirling Wind Uplifts a Leaf, and the one we are reading now, A Spaceship Landed Over There. Children, spaceship means a spacecraft that carries people through space. Let us begin the poem. A spaceship landed over there, no one's believed me yet. I walked on over after dark and took my friend the wet. In the first stanza, the poet says that a spaceship landed at his place, which was witnessed by him, but whenever he spoke about it, no one believed that, no one accepted that. I walked on over after dark and took my friend the vet. His friend, who was a vet means the doctor for animals. So his friend who was a vet only believed on him. And finally, both of them entered the spacecraft following the darkness which was spread there. We couldn't find the little men, we searched and searched inside. So I sat in the pilot's seat and said, let's take a ride. In this stanza, the poet says that when he and his friend searched inside the spacecraft, they couldn't find the little men. Here the poet beautifully reflects our mindset about the space and spacecraft. Usually, when we talk about a spacecraft, the first thing strikes in our mind are aliens. Similarly, in the poem too, the two friends, as they entered inside the spaceship, looked for the aliens. But unfortunately, they did not find any. And hence, the poet took the pilot's seat. And together they decided to take a ride. A voice said, "Early Earthmen." Then a glass dome dropped around. My nerves grew calmer when I heard a high-pitched hissing sound. As the poet took over the pilot's seat, a voice came, "Early Earthmen," which means that the pilot's seat was designed to recognize the person who was going to fly the spaceship. And it identified the poet as early Earthman. And a glass dome means a round structure with circular base. It dropped over him, making him ready to fly that vehicle. Due to this, the poet got scared at first, but later he got relaxed when he heard a high-pitched hissing sound. Here, it is the sound of the machine which was about to wing. My friend the vet was diagnosed, perhaps I guess by smell. Some gizmo stashed him in a cage which didn't fit him well. In the previous stanza we read that the poet himself was recognized as early Earthman inside the spacecraft. And now his friend, the vet, was determined as animal due to the smell which was coming from him. Since he was a vet and his profession was to take care of animals' health, it was quite natural if he stinks like them. After being diagnosed with a disease, he was pushed inside a device that trapped him. But because he was a human, not an animal, the cage did not fit him well. We travelled fast through space and time to planets far and near and ended up where we began on early Earth's sphere. After all that process, the spaceship travelled fast through space and time. Children, when you move faster through space, your time component will be smaller compared to someone standing still. And that is considered as traveling through space and time. So here they visited planets which were far and near and concluded their journey from where they started. and that is the early Earthman sphere. Inoculate, then yes and no, words flashing on a screen. I smiled as I selected yes. Now Dr. Bill is green. Suddenly, some words appeared on a screen inside the spaceship, which says inoculate yes or no. Children, inoculate means to inject someone with a very mild form of a disease to help resist that disease in future. Or in simple words, we can say vaccinate. We have already read that the poet's friend was diagnosed by the spaceship as animal, and the message here inoculate was for him, and his friend's name was Dr. Bill. The poet then selected yes for his friend, and now he was turned green. He hasn't had a cold in years, but sometimes late at night he swings through trees. I wonder which is worse, his bark or bite. In the last stanza, the poet describes his friend, the vet's behavior. He says that after being inoculated, his friend never suffered with cold for years, but the vaccine affected him in other way. Now he behaved like apes, and sometimes late at night he was found swinging through trees. Observing this, the poet wonders and asks which is worse, his friend's bark or bite. Children, here the poet is confused because sometimes the barks are more unpleasant and hostile than the bites. Thank you, children.